Hello friends, today we will be talking about the basic concept of factorization and its uses. Let's first understand what is factorization. Factorization is the process of breaking down a number or an algebraic expression as a product of different numbers or expressions called factors. It converts a complicated expression into product of simpler components which are easier to deal with. Now we've already done factorization in earlier classes. We factorize a number and we find the basic factors which can divide that given number. So similar thing can be done for the expressions also. So for example, we have an expression 4x square plus 2x. Now this, instead of writing it like 4x square plus 2x, we could also write it as 2x multiplied by 2x plus 1. Now this is basically factorization of the given expression, where the given expression 4x square plus 2x is written as the product of the factors 2x and 2x plus 1. So this is called factorization. The concept of factorization remains same for the numbers as well as the expressions. Of course, the methods to do the factorization of expression will differ. Friends, let's now try to understand what do we mean by factorization of natural numbers. We've already done that in earlier classes, but let's define it here once again. Factorization is finding all the possible numbers which can divide a given number, and such numbers are called factors, and we all know that even 1 and the number itself are the factors of the given number. Now there's a difference between factorization and prime factorization. If instead of finding all the possible numbers which can divide a given number, if we just find out all the prime numbers which can divide the given number, we call it prime factorization, and such numbers are called the prime factors of the given number. Let's take a small example to understand where do we use factorization. Supposing we have 12 burgers which have to be divided equally into children sitting in 3 rows with 2 children in each row. How many burgers does each child get? Now what we do here is we find factors of 12 which we know is 2, 2 and 3, because 12 is equal to 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3. So now looking at these factors of 12, we know that 2 children each sitting in 3 rows get 2 burgers each. So that is how we use factorization. Let's now move to factorization of algebraic expressions. Finding all the possible numbers or expressions which can divide a given expression is called factorization, and such numbers or expressions are called factors. Now this is not very different from what we said is factorization of numbers. The only thing which gets added is that the factors could be expressions also. If the factors so formed cannot be further factorized, they are called irreducible factors, as against the prime factors which we used to call for the numbers. Here we do not call them prime factors, we call them irreducible factors. That means they cannot be further reduced. Now let's try to see how do we factorize an expression 6x square plus 9x. Now here we clearly see that 3 is a common factor in both the terms, and similarly x is also another common factor in the two terms of this expression. So we take out 3x and the remaining part 2x plus 3 remains inside the bracket. So 3x gets multiplied by 2x plus 3. Now here we say that there are 3 factors of this expression, which are 3x and 2x plus 3. We want to find possible solutions such that the given expression equals 0. Now that may be a need that may or may not be required, but supposing we are asked to find out all the possible solutions such that the given expression equals 0. So how do we do that? Now we know that this expression, which is the product of 3x into 2x plus 3, can be 0 only if either of the factors is 0. So that means 3 being a constant cannot be equated to 0. So the only two options that we're left with is either x has to be 0 or 2x plus 3 has to be 0, which means x will be equal to minus 3 by 2. Now that gives us the 6x squared plus 9x can be 0 only if either x is equal to 0 or x is equal to minus 3 by 2. Now after having seen what is factorization in case of numbers and what is factorization in case of algebraic expressions, let's first understand what is the use of factorization. Where do we use them in our daily lives? The factorization of numbers is very commonly used in our daily life. Let's take an example. We've already taken an example of burgers getting divided into a number of children. Now let's take another example where we have 50 chocolates and that is to be divided amongst 4 children equally. Now we'll first find out the factors of 50, and depending upon whether 4 is a factor of 50 or not, we'll be able to decide whether those chocolates can be divided equally amongst those 4 children or not. Now in this case, as we clearly see that 4 is not a factor of 50, so we'll say after dividing the chocolates equally into 4 children, we'll be left with 2 chocolates. We also use the method of factorization for finding square roots, cube roots, etc. You must have seen that in your earlier classes. Now factorization of algebraic expression actually does not find a very common use in our day-to-day lives, but it is used in polynomial to polynomial division. Factorization has great utility in science-related subjects, in studying patterns and generalizing them and predicting future patterns based on the same, proving or disproving scientific results. All of these require solving higher order equations. So this is one of the major uses of factorization of algebraic expressions. Factorization makes the complicated expressions look simpler and helps in finding the possible solution. Friends, I hope you enjoyed the session. If you find it useful, please like it and share it with your friends. You can visit us at our Cool Smart Learning website and post your queries there. And please subscribe to the Cool Smart Learning channel for getting updates on the new sessions. Thank you.